Hey, what's up all my burners out there? This is WeedMan420 with the WeedMan420 Chronicles. How are my burners doing out there today? What's going on, y'all? My boy Jay Kush over there hitting that Rick and Morty bong. We got a new strain we're smoking today. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but it's called Four Kings by Revolution. Jay Kush, how you doing, brother? Pass that bong over so I can get a hit. We got some news to talk about today. I'm excited. There's a lot of shit going on in the industry right now, but I'm going to rip this Rick and Morty bong real quick. All hail.
What's up, burners? Good to be back.
Yeah, Jay Kush, second time around, baby. Thanks for coming out today. This craziness, madness going on right now. As all you know, the world is upside down in this coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever the fuck you want to call it, or corona, however you want to call this. It's crazy times right now, but I'm going to talk a little bit about this coronavirus. I don't want it to take over our whole show, but I'm going to talk about a little bit, because this is a cannabis show, so we're going to talk a little about cannabis and the coronavirus. Just here's what you need to know, okay? A couple quick things. Stop sharing joints, blunts, bongs while coronavirus is spreading. Jay Kush over here bought himself one of the, because we are smoking out of the Rick and Morty bong, but he bought himself, what'd you bring to smoke out of?
Brought over a Moose Lab. It's like a little filter type thing, and if you're session, definitely right now it's a good thing to have.
So we're sharing the Rick and Morty bong, but he bought a rubber to make sure we don't share any germs. I think it's awesome. I think you can still share stuff. There's different types of products out there that you can filter, or if you're smoking out of a bowl or a bong with somebody you don't have something to share, just get a fucking alcohol swab and just clean the alcohol out. But if not, try not to share it at all. But if you can, clean yourself up. Wash your hands frequently. That's what they're talking about right now. Like really, really, really wash your hands. Not just like 2 seconds under the water. Sing happy birthday. That's what I've been taught. Sing happy birthday. That should be enough time. Or you can say, you could smoke 2 joints in the morning, smoke 2 joints at night. Little Sublime. That'll help you. Don't buy into the unproven coronavirus remedies. CBD, THC, it doesn't cure coronavirus. There's not enough testing out there to say it even helps. What it will help you with, though, is a little bit of pain relief, a little bit of relaxation, help you go to sleep at night. That's what it will do. But what you don't want to do is burn and rip a bong with no ice in it and get that heat going down, the dry lung, because that's giving it you have that dry cough with coronavirus. Definitely don't do that. Eat some edibles, maybe take some tincture and put it in a drink, put it a part of your daily elixir that you're making for yourself. They're saying practice social distancing, little elbow. How you doing there with the elbow?
Yep.
Give a little, like, I don't know, something with some clothes on, wear a glove. I don't care. Just they're saying social distancing is part of this new thing for right now for the next couple of weeks. It's kind of like back in the school days, Jay Kush, when I was a Catholic school boy. Unfortunately, I had to go to Catholic school and I had to do 6 inches apart at the school dance. Now they're saying, say 6 feet of distance between yourself and others. Mrs. WeedMan was at the store today buying some stuff to make for dinner at night, and she was noticing when you're walking down the aisle how people are actually really turning around going the opposite way. So practice some social distancing. I mean, just be cautious. Like we talked about, smoking weed when you're down with any kind of virus, not such a great idea. When you're burning a hot bowl in your mouth or something like that, stick with edibles. Stick with some kind of tincture for right now for sleep aid or anything like that, or anti-inflammatory properties. But don't forget, they haven't discovered that CBD or THC is the cure for coronavirus, because in this country, we don't have legalization yet, and that's what's hurting us. Maybe it could. Maybe there's a phenol in there. Maybe there's a cannabinoid in there. Maybe there's some kind of terpene in there that can help, but we won't know until we get some more lab testing done. So right now, no cure with THC and CBD. Just use it as a pain relief, sleep-inducing, and anti-inflammatory properties, okay? So be cautious what you're learning out there. Leave the face mask, and for the ill and for the healthcare providers, you don't need a face mask, all right? You don't need all that fucking TP that you've been buying people. Please leave some for people, 1 per customer. How many times you got to wipe your ass with 72 rolls of toilet paper that have 1,000 wipes? Give me a break. Just
Yeah.
Be nice. Be kind. Help the elderly out. Help the disabled out. Help the people that need to get something off the shelf to get to their families too. Everyone's got families out there. I know it's kind of crazy. I know the media and this pandemic out there and people are going crazy because the World Health Organization is making this shit go nuts. You should all go smoke a joint before you leave your house and go shopping, and you'll be a lot nicer to one another. Wouldn't you say that, Jay Cush?
Get high.
I mean, get high before you go. Maybe you'll be a lot more nicer to people and helping people out. I know it's a stressful time. I know some people might have a fever. That's the dry cough, the shortness of breath, or if you've been in contact with COVID-19 patients. If you're traveled out of the country right now, coming back, you're going to have to do 14 days on your own of staying in your house. Little weed girl is in Europe right now. We're trying to get her home. So just check yourself, people. Just be cognizant of what's going on in your surroundings and look for basically be nice and be kind in this time of craziness, okay? This is what we can do to help people out. Just like I always say, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Seriously.
Right? All right. Let's move on from this. I don't really keep on really talking about this and the negativity of the world right now because we can make this into a positive and make this hopefully help people out. But something cool that, this can do for people is just be kind. Just be nice. That's all I'm going to say one last time. But here's another a crazy thing that's happening out in California right now. Federal prosecutors investigate California marijuana companies in wide-range probe. Jay Kush, when I heard this through Market Watch, I came to you right away, didn't I?
Yep.
We were like,
good old Weed Maps.
Fuck, man. Weed Maps getting fucked up right now. And 30 different companies in cannabis in California right now. But Weed Maps is the big one. I guess the feds are investigating them for letting illegal growers or dispensaries or people selling cannabis on their website. From what I learned and read and what we talked about, Jay Kush, the U.S. Attorney's Office is looking to subpoena them and all their documents and from Weed Maps and gets all the records of people of all the ordering services through their website. I use Weed Maps. I fucking love Weed Maps, especially when I'm in a different state and I want to find a dispensary. Yep. You go right on their app, you go right on their website, you click in Michigan, and all the fucking or
all
wherever
the deals pop up, everything.
It's great.
Yep.
But you're gonna get caught nowadays.
Yep.
I don't care who you are. If you're not doing business right,
they will find you.
They're gonna find you. Right?
They really will.
Just remember that. Because the U.S. government wants their money. So with this, though, they're saying that Weed Maps is now going to become some sort of informant.
I would say so. Definitely.
Or get fined $6.2 billion. That'll wipe them out. And all the other companies right now that are getting investigated that went through Weed Maps are going to probably get wiped out if they don't fix their shit.
Well, and it said the illicit market captures up to 70% of retail sales. So that means, depending if these guys are operating legally, they're not paying the taxes, which is why they're really going after them.
Mm-hmm. Like we talked about, the American government wants their monies. And if you don't think they're going to get it, they're going to shut you down. They're going to get it some way. It destroyed some stocks, too. Terratena and Caracraft, two companies out of California that are getting investigated, doing some retail with their licenses and stuff like that, going through Weed Maps. Federal law prohibits the sale or possession of marijuana, but Congress has choked off Justice Department funding for pursuing marijuana cases if the targets comply with states and medical marijuana regulations. Here's some other stuff about it. State illegal cannabis businesses have caused havoc for illegal operators taking advantage of licenses to siphon pot into the illegal market and grossly undercutting pricing. That's some fucked up shit. And MarketWatch caught this because of, as you know, MarketWatch is stocks. But they found out that maybe there was some illegal things going on with, as you know, there is a lot of companies out there, cannabis companies that have their companies on the U.S. Canadian stock exchange because it's still federally illegal in the United States. but they're siphoning money and filtering money through their stocks and showing fake growth. So that's another reason why the federal government got involved in this, and why MarketWatch had kind of put this on the internet and on their news to let them know. Weedmaps has faced scrutiny from California regulators in the past because it listed dispensaries that did not follow state rules. Jay Kush, like we talked about, they want their money. They want you to follow, because the taxes and everything that they're getting paid out is big. It's big business right now in California. The company said it will require new listings to include a state license number, and insist that existing listings and add license information to their accounts by the end of 2019. Too late. U.S. Attorney McGregor Scott of California's Eastern District has previously said that the office planned to make eradicating and prosecuting illegal growing sites, which they have been doing. They've been
going down
hard, big time,
bringing down the hammer on them. Like, I'm following it on Instagram, and I feel like every other day you either see a shop going down or a grow just being taken down.
Yeah, and the taxes, and learning what's going on in California, they're charging like 40 to 45% in taxes out there for growers, and I think that's why you have not seen a lot of people want to get into the legal business, because they're going to get
no money to be made.
Exactly, and so that's on MarketWatch, but then it goes into more with MarketWatch because one of the largest cannabis companies in British Columbia, Canopy Growth, just had to lay off 500 people.
Yep.
Okay, so and they actually have the coolest symbol for stocks, weed, WEED, but they took a beating. 500 jobs lost. Canopy also has their plan to end their second and third facility in Ontario to complete shutdown. Canopy fell more than 1.4% in the extended session on the trade shares. The company said that it expects to record a pre-tax charge of $700 million to $800 million related to Wednesday's announcement and additional changes to the company. The British Columbia greenhouse account for 3 million square feet and began operating in February of 2018. That's no fucking joke.
No.
3 million. It's not like 300,000 square feet or 3,000 square feet. We're talking about 3 million.
It's a hefty amount of space to be growing marijuana in.
I mean, they were planning ahead.
Totally.
I mean, really what took it and invested a lot of money into what was going to happen, hopefully dominate the Canadian market. Their stock fell, not huge, but it still fell 2.4% when it closed. But they were the fastest growing cannabis company out there for a hot minute. I think their stocks were up to like $28 at one time. That's like one of the highest.
High. That is high.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
The ones that I can afford all took a shitter. So I mean, but this one was pretty big. So keep an eye on that Canopy Growth and see if they can get their shit together. And we've talked about them before in a couple other podcasts, but keep an eye on that. Especially if you're investing or you're looking for anything, I wouldn't invest in them right now. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful. Jay Kush, you're younger than me, and I know I've never used the blue pill. Have you ever used the blue pill? Not the one to take you back in time from the Matrix, the red or blue pill. We're talking about the little blue pill that's...
Thankfully not.
No. Neither have I. Dob Boys always says I'm an old man, but the old man still hasn't needed to use the blue pill. But what's kind of crazy here is marijuana has been causing erections for men out there. One gentleman on this had got a 12-hour erection from smoking cannabis, and now does it happen to everybody? I don't know. I know personally me, and I've told you about this one strain I've smoked a few times. It's called it's by Justice. It's called Crunch Berries, and every time I smoke this fucking strain, yeah, the little guy grows. So I mean, and here's why. Reading and about this article and knowing a little bit about cannabis and what it does to your body, it does kind of like get blood flowing all through your body a little bit faster. Some people it drops, it lowers your blood. Some people it raises your blood depending on what kind of strain you smoke. This one strain raises my blood. It makes it go throughout my body, and it has a certain effect in my lower genitalia area. I don't know. It's not every strain, but this one does for me act like the little blue pill, and I don't have a prescription for it. So, I mean, I do for cannabis. So, but this poor guy here had an erection for 12 fucking hours. Now the little blue pill only lasts 4. Imagine having a fucking hard on for like 12
3
hours.
times that amount.
That would eventually hurt.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, what do? This guy, he had a painful erection. It's rare that this happens to some people. You know, he had some serious consequences. He had damage to his penis, and for like 90% of those remaining erect for 12 hours, losing sexual function. Effects can be permanent. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Like, permanent how? Like, if you had an erection for the rest of your life, you'd be every woman's dream, maybe. But it'd be a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
Because you'd be pissing in your face.
Go to the bathroom, going to the grocery store, just walking around with a hard on. Yeah. That'd be an interesting life to adjust to.
Dude, I wake up with a piss hard on in the morning like every other man in this world. And there's times where you have to, like, go in the shower and turn it on, because if not, you're going to piss in your face. Or I've seen some videos of guys laying across the toilet if you have enough room. You know, so this poor guy probably could take a piss. He probably had to go outside because he had 12-hour erection. I don't know if he was every woman's dream or maybe could have been his own nightmare, but I don't know. But here's what it is. Cannabis doesn't appear often in published case studies involving unwanted erections. When it does, it's often the case where the erections have other more likely causes. Now, sometimes there's other drugs involved. Sometimes you might be on cannabis and taking a little blue pill. I don't know. But in some of the cases involved, there was sickle cell disease involved in this, a leading cause of priapism. Another showed current use of MDMA, which is ecstasy or anything of that, which reported as another proven cause. The fourth involved a patient with diabetes, which is another known cause, who is also said to be using a number of other substances, including cocaine, yet another cause, and anabolic steroids. So, but this guy was straight up on cannabis. He had no medical history of any of that stuff that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. The man had smoked cannabis off and on over his life. He told doctors in the periods during which he consumed cannabis seemed to align with the past episodes of uncomfortable erections. He admitted a history of cannabis use at age 16 and 17, during which time he had reoccurrent priapism lasting less than 4 hours. That's kind of cool if you're like with your woman and you get it for like, she wants you to go a little bit longer than most men, 2-minute man or 60-minute man, depending on how your cannabis works for you. This guy was a 60-minute man, it looked like. So, but then he quit cannabis in his 20s, and during that period did not have any episodes of priapism. Then he wound up smoking this cannabis again, and he went balls to the wall 12 hours. Poor guy.
Damn.
Here's some research, though. There's not a ton of it, but you know, everybody, guys who drink or girls who drink, but guys who drink, we always make fun of them because sometimes you get blue balls and you get erection, you can't have an orgasm. You know,
or
some
that
guys
whiskey dick.
Whiskey dick. There you go. But I know cannabis for a fact makes for better sex, because cannabis for me heightens all my senses.
Definitely.
And I've talked about this in prior episodes. Sometimes I get a little bit too baked and my blood pressure drops me down. But most of the time, like, I can extremely say I'm not a munchie guy when I'm extremely stoned. I don't get the munchies. I don't even like the smell of certain foods when I'm really high, because my height, my nose, my sound, my touch, my ears, everything gets a little bit heightened for a little bit.
Yep.
It also depends on the type of strain I smoke. That's another thing.
Definitely.
Too. But I do not like. I cannot eat for at least an hour to 2 hours after I smoke. That's just me. Jay Cush, anything like you on that?
I'm definitely a munchie guy. I actually like getting high and eating. I think it's an experience. It's like the heightenedness. But yeah, I can go to town on some stuff.
Yeah, and some people can. Paulie, who was on the podcast before he went off into the wilderness, he was we called him Munchie Boy. But he was like me also, though. He couldn't eat right off the bat. Okay. It would be like within like 30, 45 minutes. So then he would just town on some candy. Oh my God. Jeez. He would town on some candy. But like, there's some people like myself, I different for everybody. Just so you know, be careful if you're out there and you're taking cannabis, you know, and you feel something irregular down there and it's not going to go away, go to a doctor, you know, just or just wait for it to go down, maybe. But as for the man with the 12-hour erection, it's not clear how he fared. According to the case study, he was referred to a urologist and internal medicine specialist for diagnosis. However, he was lost to follow up and guess the rest of his article. So anyway, it's something to look out for, though. Same thing, I've heard like some massacres of guys with the little blue pill and all that shit. So just be careful out there. Like I said, make sure you're just using the right strain, and if it's good for you, great. If it's not, and you feel something crazy down there, go to the doctor. You guys all know I'm an edible man. I love edibles. Mrs. WeedMan makes a ton of them for me. I want to talk about what is the suggested dosage that people should take. And maybe if you're just starting out in cannabis, you've heard us talk about this before. Always start low because you can always move forward. You can never move back. But what is a suggested dose? What do you think? What do you like to take, Jay Kush?
I would just say less is more. Personally, I'm at about 50 milligrams if I'm trying to...
50, holy shit.
Yeah, if I'm trying to just have a good time. But if I'm trying to get like really knocked out, 100. But I'd say starting
But you're not the first person I heard that from. Okay? There's a couple people, there's maybe 10, 15 people I know that can do 50 to 100 at once.
Yep.
I know me, if I took 100 milligram, I'd be in the corner crying to my mom. That's just me. Go ahead, you were saying more, Jay Kush.
Yeah, that less is more. Always start off, I'd say a good starting point is anywhere from 5 to 10 milligrams for starting off, because you can always take more. A lot of times, the people that are that you see in the memes they're having to go to the hospital and things like that, they've taken too much, or they've taken it, haven't felt anything, taken more, and then they get to a
100%.
point where they're way too fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're at the hospital. So
45 minutes to 2 hours. Like, I ate one the other night. I ate a Gooby it's a weird name, by Revolution. They were actually really, really good. They were 25 milligrams. I ate half. Mrs. WeedMan ate a quarter. And it hit me. But it was like, all of a sudden I looked at me. I was saying, I eat the rest of that right now? I'm not feeling it. It was an hour. And next, 15 minutes later, it kicked in. I was like, ooh, thank God I didn't eat that other part. I would have been baked,
really baked.
So it was good that I waited. Just wait, relax, be patient, read a book, drink some lemon water, go for a walk. I don't know, watch a movie. It eventually will kick in.
And when it does, make sure and it kicks in real hard, know it's just temporary.
Yes.
Don't freak out. The more you freak out on it, the worse off it's going to be.
Absolutely, 100%. But the minimum dosage, like I've talked about microdosing. I microdose 2 milligram edibles all the time. I could pop like those throughout the whole entire day. I'm fine, especially if I got a backache or I'm long drives. But for all you newbies out there, beginners out there, start off with a 5 milligram. You can get them now. A lot of dispensaries in Chicago. ESO makes a really good one. A 5 milligram watermelon slice or a cherry slice. They make a really good 5 milligram one. And then you can always work your way up. Eventually, you'll graduate to a 10, to a 15, to a 25. But most of the dispensaries sell 100 milligram edible containers, and they dial it into 5 milligram doses or 10 milligram doses or 25 milligram doses. Depends on the cultivator. But know you can get it. And if you can't find it, cut it in half. So this was a really, really good study that they're talking about here. A lot of cannabis companies in Canada are talking about this and what's the right dose. The survey also found that those that are 35 and older were more interested in cannabis-infused baked goods than those of between the age of 35 and under, who were more interested in sweets such as candies. You read something on that too, didn't you, Jay Kush, about women versus men?
Yeah, I saw that women were more interested in sweets than men were. I'm totally a sweets kind of guy. If I have a choice, I'd rather take some candies. And the interesting part was a lot of them said that they like to take them alone at home compared to going out. And I do feel like edibles are more of a at home. I'm going to chill out. It's a Friday night. Instead of a beer or two, I'm going to have a couple edibles.
Yeah, edibles and me, I can go out and do them. I can stay home and do them. It doesn't matter to me. I like them both. I like edibles no matter what. But the one thing I when I'm out and I do rather have candies, and I've taken Rice Krispie treats out with me, but it's easier to carry around candies than take a Rice Krispie treat with you, or take a brownie or shit. When I'm at home, I like baked goods. Love baked goods at home. Now, I bring baked goods out with me a lot, and I keep them in a cooler. And if you see WeedMan420 out and you see his little red cooler, he's got baked goods in there, okay? But that's not all the time. If I'm out going to a show, I'm bringing candies with me. 5, 10, whatever amount dose, and pop them all night long or whatever. But at home, like Mrs. WeedMan will always have something in the house. She makes a phenomenal granola bar that we were just talking about, and I'll eat that at home and be set. So it's your preference, what you like, men, women, guys, girls, whatever you like. But it's just, remember, always start low and move forward as you can. And just like I said, I think it's a good thing that 5%, 5 milligrams is a perfect starting dose for somebody new. Would you agree, Jay Cush?
100%.
Have you had people you talk to about edibles? Anybody ever come up to you about edibles and, hey, what's a good dosage for me, or what kind do you like, or what do you do? What do you tell them?
Definitely, I tell them about 10 milligrams. Always preface that you can take more, and just find out what you like too. Some people like the candies, some people like the nerds. I'm seeing hot chocolates. I'm seeing ramens.
Ramen, you saw that ramen?
Yeah,
that was pretty dope.
It's crazy what these people are coming up with. It's not your typical just cookies. They're
making some cool shit.
Wall stuff now.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the hot chocolate one. I tried that one before by Revolution. It was pretty good.
Drinks too.
Yeah, different types of drinks. I like it all. I have not something that I said I'm not going to do or take. I mean, there was a time where I ate edibles more than I did smoke.
Definitely.
There was a time where I was like edible crazy. I was like, edible, give me edible. But that changes on everybody. I went back to flower. So just it's going to be your personal preference on what you like. Like I said, the older generation, I'm finding when I go out to parties and stuff like that, they are more prone to talk about cannabis as an edible than as a flower smoking product. Have you noticed that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I always, like I said, I always have some edibles on me, and I always offer, would you like to try an edible? Have you ever tried edibles before? No, I've never tried edibles. Okay, I'm going to start you off with half of this dose, and then come back to me in an hour. If you don't feel anything, give you a little bit more time, but take the other half. Here you go. So just make sure when you're at a party and you're offering people stuff, you're just asking them the right question. If they're interested, you have people that say no all the time, but if they're interested, just explain the process. Just don't fuck somebody up, because I've had people do that too and make fun of people. Like, I gave them like a 25 milligram edible and didn't tell the person. Next thing they're crying in the corner like I would do to their mom. It's not fun, because then you just ruin their whole entire experience with cannabis, and they're going to be unwilling to try it ever again. So don't fuck people.
Or worse, they'll be in a back of an ambulance on the way to the hospital.
You got it. Crying to their mom.
Yep.
Just be careful and be, like we talked about earlier, just be nice, man. You want people to have good experiences on cannabis. I do. I like talking about cannabis. I talk about cannabis a lot. And I want people to experience cannabis because it has such a bad rap right now. If we explain cannabis the right way, maybe the stigma will once be broke. That's why you always hear me talk about burners versus stoners, because I'm trying to break the stigma here. So don't ever think I don't believe in you stoners. You guys are all part of my heart, but we're trying to move forward with this and trying to break the stigma so we can get it fully legalized. Okay? The thing about edibles, though, you have to understand is because of kids today and what companies are making. I've had every sort of edible out there. Gummy bears, gummy worms, Swedish fish-looking gummies. I mean, you name it, I've had it. Okay? I've had just straight-looking squared ones, straight-looking round ones that don't appeal to children because they don't have like what they see in their candies at stores. So what you have to understand is be careful with cannabis, because right now the states want to ban infused candies. Okay? I know there's Missouri right now. I know Colorado at one time was going to ban it, but then they came up with the law that you couldn't have them as like gummy worms. They had to just be square, circle, or something like that. I know what was it? State of Oregon did that also. I don't know about Seattle or not. I've got stuff from Seattle, but it was just square, so I really don't know. But I know more states are looking to ban candies or infused products because of children. Now, Here's what I'm going to stand this. Here's for the state of, let's just talk about the state of Missouri, because this is the latest one I read about. They're looking to ban lollipops. They're looking to ban any kind of infused candy. Okay. Missouri, please don't. It's up to the parents or whoever the user is to make sure it's out of sight of children. Does it always happen? No. But they should be in some kind of locked baggie that the dispensary and the cultivator make, so the children
should be child-proof to start
100%. 100%.
So there's two levels there. You as the consumer, and then the second as the packaging should protect a child.
Absolutely. I can understand taking away the different looks of edibles, Missouri. I do believe in that. You can make great edibles as squares, triangles, circles, whatever, so it doesn't appeal to children. Make them into numbers, because who wants to learn their ABCs at 3 years old? Just kidding. Line it up. But just remember, it is a candy. I don't think we should ban them. I think they should just be done differently.
Used sensibly.
Yes, exactly. So you people in Missouri, please do not ban, because there's people out there that can't smoke cannabis. Okay? They can't. They have lung issues. Yep. They have asthma, something like that. They can't use a product, but they can take edibles, and they need that for their medicine.
And some people don't like smoking in itself. They don't like the psychoactiveness, and edibles are a different high for sure.
And it's a slow progression with an edible versus when you smoke instant within like 5 to 8 minutes. You know, if I smoke a cartridge, it's 2 to 5 minutes. If I smoke flower, it can be anywhere between 1 to 6 minutes where it hits you. Edibles are a slow progression. Like I said, it takes an hour sometimes to 2 hours to hit. I felt them as fast as 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how strong or what they're using.
And what you eat beforehand is a big thing. Don't have a big meal.
Yes. And you also know that if you use a fat soluble for edibles, especially for baked goods, if you use coconut oil, it hits your body faster, it digests in your system quicker and hits your bloodstream faster than it would butter, which takes a little bit longer. Remember that. Also depends on what you're putting in there. So we're going back and forth between the survey and kids in Missouri and stuff like that, actually across the United States. Just be careful with your edibles, okay? We love them. I love fucking edibles. Love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. Okay, I think everybody who is interested in cannabis should start with that, in my opinion. Just be careful on the kids, okay? Make sure that it's safe and away from them and it does them no harm. Jay Kush, got anything else to say on that while I smoke this bong?
No, nothing more besides I love them too.
Oh, the Rick and Morty bong, yay! Go back on some of the stuff we were talking about in the past. We did an episode called You Vape Bro. We're talking about the whole entire vaping crisis and what was going on in there. Local San Diego testing lab releases alarming vape results, and I want to read this to you verbatim.
Yeah, this was scary.
Yeah, this is pretty scary, and I normally don't read a whole entire article for you guys. I just take little bits and pieces and outline it myself and stuff like that. But this one's big because I know there's still worry about the vaping crisis. Platinum Vape Company is a company located in San Diego that produces pesticide-free, high-potency cannabis products. They, as well as the other legal cannabis companies, have to undergo rigorous testing. 80% of the vape products in San Diego were tested and deemed unfit for consumption.
Not good.
Not good. Co-founder George Sadler's mission is to make people aware of the health risks people are taking by using products from unlicensed vape makers and sellers. Mankind, a legal dispensary located in Miramar Road, teamed up with Platinum Vape to buy back cartridges that range from counterfeits of popular legal brands and homemade concentrates. Consumers exchange their vapes for a discounted Platinum Vape that is regulated and tested. That's actually kind of cool.
Big ups to them. Yes, that's awesome.
That's huge. The cartridges that were turned in were then sent to Infinite Chemical Analysis Labs for testing. Once the cartridges were analyzed for potency, pesticides, and heavy metals, they found that 79% were deemed unfit for consumption.
Wow.
That's fucked up. Close to 40% of the vape cartridges failed for lead, and 62% of them failed for pesticides. Half of the vape products had less than 50% THC in them. That's fucked up because sometimes it says like 89% THC on them and you're only getting 50. Vitamin E acetate, which is the stuff that was giving everyone that lung infection that was killing people. An additive with possible links to vape-related deaths and illnesses were found in some of the cartridges. Whoa. Purchasing vape products from licensed dispensaries is the only way to ensure consumers using safe products. The dispensaries are responsible for purchasing their products from distributors that are regulated by the California Bureau of Cannabis Control. Remember that. It's got to have some kind of symbol on there, some kind of label that says that it's been tested and regulated by California. Something that says it on there, not those fake shits that we talked about in Do You Vape Bro. That episode was huge. Listen to that again. I don't want to go into all of it again, but just realize that there's still a lot of garbage out there on the market. China is producing a lot of these vape cartridges, just the cartridge before they're filled, okay? A lot of it is, these companies are buying these products from China. A lot of our stuff is coming from China. Even with the coronavirus, they still have stockpiles of it here in the United States that they bought. And you have to understand something. We don't know what they do and use in China. As you can see, there was lead tested. Lead kills you, okay? There's also that vitamin E acetate that was inside the vape cartridge, the oil. That's because they use it as an additive to get more. Okay, kind of like a guy that's making it's a thickening agent, kind of like just like propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin. Okay, so you have to understand something here, that not only just the product that's inside the cartridge, it's also the cartridge itself. Okay, and if it's coming from China, you don't know what they're putting into it. So just know that there's people out here that have your back, that are trying to regulate this stuff, and San Diego's doing a pretty good job on this testing. But just know where your shit comes from at all times. All right. Another one, something that company that I've talked about a few times here, Charlotte's Web, makes probably one of the best CBDs on the market today. They're $1 billion company. It's the company that helped that girl Charlotte who was having all those seizures. They just sold, like I said, they're producing really fine CBD that works. We don't advertise for them. We don't get paid to say that by them. I'm just letting you know that all the research that I've done about Charlotte's Web, it seems to be the most legitimate when it comes to CBD products. I would say one of the top 10 in the country.
Definitely. Yeah. I've used their products before.
Yeah. So, I mean, their potency, what's cool about them is they're getting a better, bigger yield. They're getting bigger harvest. Their CBD potency is getting even better from the genetics that they're doing.
2.34 million pounds. That's a lot of hemp. Mm-hmm. A lot of hemp.
That's great, because hemp is not only just good for, getting the CBD extraction, but everything that comes around. You can make clothes, you can use rope. Yep. I mean, so much stuff with that. I'm not even going to go about it.
Versatile
Yes,
plant.
Probably one of the best plants to use. I mean, but they got a 245% increase in total dried biomass. Like we said, 2.34 million pounds, 22% increase in CBD potency, 10% increase in yield per acre. Estimated 36,000 kilograms of CBD harvested with a 33% reduction per milligram of cost. That's actually pretty fucking good. They got their shit down pat out there. Good for you. Good for you, Charlotte's Web. And good for you to just keep on helping people out there, especially with your product, with the seizures, and making sure that you're developing high quality hemp and getting good prices in the market. So good for you guys. Keep on growing some of the finest hemp out there and the finest CBD out there. We really appreciate you. Some other cool stuff: baseball, football, Jay Kush, they're all letting these players smoke.
About time. It's about. I mean, we all know they've been doing it, but at least they're not going to get in trouble for it now.
Right. The only thing baseball players can't do, they can't be sponsored by a cannabis company.
That and show up to the job high, which, right, I mean, is only expected. I mean, and any burner knows that. Right.
And, Major League Baseball is letting him do that. Same thing with football. Just some different buy rules between both the organizations and stuff like that. But baseball players can smoke marijuana, baby. Go ahead. It's better than getting on those fucking painkillers that you guys all take, because you guys play 160 games a year and you're always beat up. Man, it's hard. It's rough. Now you can go back to your hotel room, burn a little joint, get a good night's sleep, get your inflammation down so you can play again. It's a long season for these guys. They use CBD too, a lot of them. But I've always been told CBD has to have a little kickstart of THC in there to get it going, whether it's 0.3 or higher, just to help it out. What's cool about this is that I'm happy as a former sports player, and I know a lot of sports players out there being able to use cannabis in their everyday, whatever it helps them with. ailments, sleeping. Football players with concussions, pain relief. With football players with PTSD because of concussions and stuff like that. And this is going to help them both organizations really big, and both the owners and the players both support this in baseball and in football. So, which is awesome to hear. Good for you guys.
The only thing I don't like about that is that players can't invest in the market, which I feel like if you have the money, you should be able to do what you want with it. But obviously, this is a new thing, so with time, it should open up. But that's something I did notice about that article.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody wants to be a potpreneur.
Yeah, that's actually a good word. I think in time you'll see it. Definitely. I think if it becomes federally legal,
that's the biggest thing.
I think the sports owners will be more entailed to let the players be sponsored by cannabis companies, because they're sponsored by alcohol companies.
Exactly. It's no different than Nike. Just a brand.
Right. Just a brand. But the same thing with alcohol companies. To beer, alcohol, wine, they use
Busch
athletes.
Stadium.
Right. So you got to think. I mean, eventually, in time, if it goes federally legal, they'll probably let athletes invest in companies. Maybe start their own brand.
Yep. When I was in Denver, when Mile High Stadium, when that was being renamed, a couple cannabis companies were actually thrown in the mix. But I think because it's not federally legal like that, it just wasn't the right fit.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll happen. I think eventually, it's my own opinion, but once it goes federally legal, I could see everyone letting more and more off the leash. Why wouldn't football or baseball or hockey or basketball allow cannabis companies to invest in their teams and their stadiums and stuff like that? That's big. Eventually going to be big money.
Oh, yeah.
Like a company like Cresco or Cureleaf or whoever that wants to invest in Aurora Cannabis, wants to invest in maybe eventually you might even see a cannabis company buy a sports team.
That, and maybe open it up to like consumption sites. Because how awesome would that be able to go to a sporting event and be able to legally consume it?
Oh, that'd be dope. I mean, you go out, they'll have smoking areas outside.
Seriously?
Yeah, where you can go and grab your grab a cartridge. They might even eventually sell cannabis products, infused beer or something like that, or infused non-alcoholic
Definitely
drinks.
CBD type products.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I think that'd be awesome. I think that'd be good for the industry and good for sports. I mean, I've been to games and I've seen fights, drunken people getting in big time fights, and people passed out in their own puke at games.
Doesn't happen with marijuana though.
No, I know if I was on cannabis and not drinking and I was there, I'd be mellow, enjoying the game, probably more in tune. Usually when I go to games, I'm pretty rowdy. I had 2 or 3 pops in me, and you get a couple beers, 2 or 3, and you go out and you're all rowdy, rooting for your team, screaming and yelling. Here, I just probably be more in tune because my senses are heightened with the crowd, with how referees are doing calls. I don't ever pay attention to unless they blow a call, then I get all pissed off. But, you might be in more tune with the whole surroundings of the game. More so than when you're drunk and you're just, yelling and screaming.
And there's always those good munchies there. So,
who doesn't like a hot pretzel with mustard and cheese? That nasty cheese sauce. I shouldn't say nasty. I know a lot of people like that yellow cheese.
Quality stuff there.
Quality stuff. So good for you, baseball. Good for you, football. I've been looking into trying to start a cannabis business for some time now, but it's so friggin' expensive in Illinois. I think it's kind of out of a lot of people's price range here. I think the taxes and the initial investment, you have to have like $10 million in the bank if you want to start a cultivation or a dispensary here when they first open. So it's been real tough. But they're saying that the Bible Belt,
out of all places,
right? The Bible Belt is probably your best bet if you're looking to get into cannabis. Cost is a lot cheaper. You don't have the high entry like you do in some of the north states or in some of the eastern states that are real, or even towards the west.
Even here.
Yeah, so the Midwest is pretty bad, They're saying Oklahoma is probably the next place that's going to be like the sooner state will be the state to go if you want to get in cannabis. It's cheap to live, it's cheap to invest, it's cheap to to get into the market there, and they are allowing more licenses. They're not just letting the big corporations come in to have all the cash. They're letting people invest in cannabis. And what's cool about this is it's only medical right now, and the Sooner State, compared to Illinois, that only has 113,000 registered medical cannabis patients, they have 210,000, and they've only had medical cannabis now since 2018. Illinois has had it since 2013.
Yeah.
And there's only 113,000 medical card holders versus Sooner State, 210,000 registered medical cannabis patients, 6% of the state's 4 million residents.
That's crazy. Did help that the doctors, basically any doctor can prescribe it, which is a lot different than most states where you have to go to a medically certified doctor.
Yeah.
Like I think in Illinois there may be 10, maybe 20 at most that are offered that you can go and get a card from. So by having any doctor being able to prescribe it, and basically for any ailment too, kind of opens the door for a lot of med patients.
Yeah, and their legal dispensaries in Oklahoma sold over 250 million. Their medical sold 40 million. So pretty good, you know.
Decent numbers.
Yeah, decent numbers. So I mean, but to be able to go in, it's a low cost entry, makes it easy for small business to participate in the industry. Anyone wishing to apply in Oklahoma a legal weed license can pay $2,500 application fee. Unlike here in Illinois, it was like for a cultivator was $250,000,
yeah.
and you didn't get that money back for the application fee.
100 times more.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And you can apply online, receive approval within 2 weeks.
That's the big thing. Is
Yeah.
There's not that much red tape. Out
Yeah,
in
the
Bible,
ease of this process made it possible for 2,300 dispensaries to root in the state. 2,300.
I would never have guessed that.
There's only 60 licenses that we're giving in the state of Illinois to start, but 2,300 in Oklahoma. And there's only 4 million people.
2,300.
There's only 4 million people.
To think if there were 2,300 in Chicago right now, wow, that would be abundance of weed.
You wouldn't have to worry about lines. Well, yeah, there'd be abundance of stores, not enough weed right now. Oklahoma has the second highest number of pot shops per capita in the entire U.S. First one we talked about was Oregon. Was number
Oregon.
one. Yeah, it was number one per capita.
Denver's got to be up there too.
Oh, that'd be maybe the state of Denver, but there. I think I read it when I read a couple episodes ago, and I did talk about it. But look at that, 2,300. Not even all of California has 20. I think California has something like 700, 800 dispensaries. I think from what I read, they're saying at least every small town will have a pot shop, and that's more than the per capita than Denver.
And actually, being in Illinois, I'm surprised we haven't seen much Oklahoma weed. Like, it sounds like they probably have a surplus, and I'm interested on the quality of it.
Yeah, me too. Driving through that state, definitely gonna stop and see if they're reciprocal with the medical card like Michigan is.
That would be awesome.
And Nevada. In contrast, a California legal business must cough up $1,000 application fee and $5,000 surety bond, an annual licensing fee that can cost anywhere from $2,500 to $96,000. Big, just for if you're looking at apples to apples and orange to oranges compared to Oklahoma. So, if you're trying to get into the cannabis industry, look for the low cost and look what's a friendly state compared to a state that's all about taxes and where they want to get you at and try to not give that money back to you, like Illinois, California. So. One last thing about here is Oklahoma's chill medical marijuana regulations are unique amongst the Bible Belt. Nearby Arkansas, don't go to fucking Arkansas. It has a very limited list of qualifying conditions. Also required medical marijuana startups pay up to $100,000 surety bond. So look at that. Nebraska doesn't have anything. They just like busting people with cannabis. So they don't even have anything yet. So just look into and investigate. If you're looking to get into the cannabis industry, look at a state you're going to be able to afford, especially if you don't have a lot of backers or millionaires backing you up. Don't forget, it does cost money. It's opening like any business. So just be careful and look at if you're looking to move, make sure it's the right state for you.
And I think why they're doing so well is just because their taxes aren't ridiculous. When taxes are ridiculous, that's when people go to the black market. So if you want a thriving legal market, you definitely need to make it affordable for the average person to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ontario making some news here. We've been talking about legal lounges on a few episodes here. Ontario's just going to say, fuck it, let's do it.
About time.
Yeah, the largest province said it would go through a consultation process to review the possibility of legalizing not just lounges, but also cannabis consumption in public places like outdoor festivals and concerts.
Which people already do it there. It's just one less thing for security to have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. I hate when I see people getting, like, taken off of a line at a concert and they're getting their cannabis taken away from them.
And this way I don't have to crush my joints. I can actually enjoy a nice pearly. Come on, what's better than that? Some good music and a pearl joint?
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, I good for you. We've been talking about, someone mentioned a business to me, like saying, you ever see those laundromats that have the bars in them? So what happens if you have like a laundromat / cannabis bar / arcade all in one? That's pretty friggin' dope that you can, like, do that. And in Ontario, they're just going to be able to go, well, you can come into my bar, you can light up a joint, and there'll be a cannabis bar, which we've been talking about here. I know there's certain states starting to do that. I know it's just cannabis, but, some people like to go to a bar. They don't drink, but they smoke. So why can't you just bring your joint in or an edible in and eat at the bar and still buy food there and still buy... You're still buying pop or make elixirs with CBD in it or something like that. Just give it a shot. United States, look at Ontario, look at Canada, what they're doing. They're gonna be fucking dominating you soon, and we can have more and more business owners. Maybe they can't get into the cannabis industry, but they can do something with cannabis in the industry. Okay, just remember, you can make. It'd be cool if you went to a lounge that served edibles. They made fresh edibles there.
That'd be great.
Fucking awesome. And maybe they're not serving alcohol, but they're serving elixirs with different types of drinks they're making, cocktails, non-alcoholic drinks. And then they have a fresh kitchen making everything with CBD, and they're making stuff with different terpene profiles. I think they need to fucking figure this out quick, because there's going to be other states and other countries just dominating
Amsterdam seems to have it down, so if they can do it, let's look at them and kind of get a blueprint going.
Yeah, so good for you, Ontario. Keep it going. Keep on getting those lounges open. Let other people open up some business and stuff like this. Jake, Kush, you don't have any kids, do you?
Nope.
And I have two. They're very, very a lot older now. But the one thing about now that cannabis is becoming legal or medical in a lot of states here in the United States, the one thing we still have to keep our eye out on is the kids. For the kids. You have to understand, using marijuana in your house and you have kids, it's still going to be frowned upon. I agree upon that. If you have kids that are, maybe they're infants and they're in bed, that's a different story. But if you have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13-year-old, and you're lighting up joints and bong rips in your house in front of them, this is my opinion. I'm not here to judge. It's your choice, like I always say. But you will be frowned upon.
Without a doubt.
Even by the burners.
Yep.
I don't care. You will be frowned upon. If I saw you lighting a joint in front of a bunch of little kids in your house, blowing that smoke in front of them, I think you're a fucking asshole.
And that's being a stoner.
Yes. And, just be cautious. I know a lot of people that have kids. They go outside. They go for a walk. They have their
garage, your car.
They have their smoking room. Usually the guys go out to the garage.
Yep. The attic. There's always a spot.
Or the kids are in bed. Can't you wait? Actually nowadays cartridges are a good thing to say. If you have kids, you can go out with your cartridge and
very convenient.
Very convenient. So just, man, be respectful of your kids, man. Raising your kids. I know there's moms out there that need cannabis during the day when they're raising their kids. It's a stressful job, raising kids. It's not an easy job. You might have 2 or 3 kids you're trying to raise. Hey, I get it, man. And you need that to help relax you. Some people have high anxiety. They need cannabis for their anxiety. It helps. Just don't do it in front of your kids. Go step outside for a second. 2 rips of that pen, you'll be right back in the ball game. I just think it's still, no matter if it becomes federally legal, I still think it's going to be frowned upon. Jay Kush, what do you think about that?
It's good to keep them educated, but always good to make sure they know that it is adult usage type thing. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, as it becomes more accepted, they're going to be around it. But yeah, just be smart about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's recreational medicinal, look at it this way: the state will come after you too, depending on the state laws. And if you're gonna get caught, someone probably will rat you out too.
Yep.
You know, I think you just, when you're in your house around your kids, just be careful because you can get popped by the fuzz. A neighbor like myself would come up and probably say, "Dude, relax. You're around your kids." You know, even at parties and stuff, go around. I remember being at parties and a bunch of little kids. The adults would go around the corner or in the alley.
Yep.
And burn a joint or, do whatever, So just be respectful of other people's kids and your kids. I suggest that you just don't do it around them, or their eyesight, okay? You can yell at me all you want on that. You raise your kids, it's your choice. I'm just my fucking opinion here, and WeedMan420's opinion. Jay Cush, you got anything else to say?
No, I pretty much summed it up.
Yeah. All you guys out there, please take care of yourselves in this time of craziness. The world right now is kind of in some turmoil. I think, we need to be careful. We need to be loving and kind, like I said earlier. So, but hopefully this episode you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys learned something. We ask that you listen to us. And what would really do Weedman's heart good is to share this podcast with people. Just, hey, if you got people out there that listen to podcasts, let them know about WeeMan420 Chronicles. We're on Spotify. We're on Buzzsprout. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on just about every major platform out there. Also, DM us on our WeeMan420 Chronicles Instagram. Go ahead, WeeMan420 Pod on Twitter. Give us an email on WeeMan420Chronicles@gmail.com. And also, all you listeners out there, I want to say thank you because you are listening, because we checked our numbers. Once a week, I check our numbers, and we're up to now, as we did last time, we told you, we're up to now almost 6,300 listens on our podcast, and that does WeedMan420 proud. And we really appreciate it that you guys keep on listening. We're in right now, it tripled in how many cities and countries we're in now. So we're growing, and we're happy that you're sharing this. So keep on sharing this. If you like the experience, hopefully one day I can meet you, shake your hand, smoke a bowl with you, and take care of yourself. Jay Cush, got anything else to say?
Toke on and wash those hands.
As Paulie always says, smoke smart, puff, puff, and away.